the Be Quiet Dark Power 13, coming in at $249.90 for the 850 watt variant, which is the one that I have. That is a freaking ton of money for the wattage. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same product, there's Amazon links below. Okay, so this comes in either 750 watt or 800 watt, and it also should be available in 1000 watts, but I can't find it anywhere for sale, so I do have the 850 watt variant. Okay, so this is fully modular, and the connections on the PSU here are a little bit different here. You have a 24 pin motherboard connection, your 12 volt high power connection, then 4 PCIe connections, with 2 being 10 pin and then 2 being 12 pin, based on different PCIe cables, which we'll go over if that makes sense. So that doesn't really matter because it's just the connections on the actual PSU itself, which is obviously not standard. But yeah, we'll go over that. Then you have 4 SATA and Molex connections. And as for the fan size, this is a 135 millimeter Silent Wings cooling fan that is also fluid dynamic bearing. Now, for the design of the mesh grille, while it doesn't really matter here, this is possibly the most attractive looking non-RGB supply out there. A beautiful mesh grille on the top or the bottom, depending on your orientation, and these really cool, almost like prison bar with back to mesh for the more airflow on-off switch area of the power supply. It just looks awesome. You're probably never gonna see this when it's actually installed here, but it's just really, really nice. This also measures in at a little under 7 inches, so it is slightly longer than your average power supply, although this still should fit in like 95% of ATX cases that are not like small cases. For the cables here, they are all sleeved, and I mean all of them, including the SATA and Molex connections. That is one more of the premium things that, well, you do pay for, but if you appreciate that, and that's one of the things you want to spend money on, well, there's no problem there. Now you have a 24 pin motherboard cable with a 20 by 4 pin layout. You then have one 12 volt high power cable. You have one PCIe cable, then an additional 4 plus 4 PCIe cable, then 2 dual PCIe connections in a 6 plus 2 by 6 plus 2 layout. Although here the cables are completely separated from the connection, so really they're giving you a total of 6 PCIe connections, and that is the cable rather than, well, obviously then you could have 8 PCIe connections as a total of like connections, if that makes sense. Next, you got some pretty cool stuff going on. You have 2 SATA cables with 3 connections on each cable, as well as an additional SATA cable with 4 SATA connections on the cable, which is really cool for maximizing your cable management, depending on if you, well, don't need the extra cable length or the extra SATA connection. And also do remember, those are sleeved. Then you get an additional cable with 2 SATA connections and 2 Molex connections on the same cable. You also then have an overclocking switch, which actually goes on your back IO, like where your GPU would mount, which is very cool to implement it in that way if you do choose so. This will then switch your 4 12 volt rails into one massive 12 volt rail, which is, well, kind of cool. For the internals, I was unable to get this open without completely scratching up the outside, so here may be some short shots of the internals if I do manage to get into it after the B-roll is shot. For the warranty, this is 10 years as we expect. Again, if you want to check out this exact same product, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. And if you want to check out my main channel with longer form content, you can check that out right here. But this is a consumer tech review high speed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.